There we are. We are now live. And we are the Mad Scientists. And I'm Mad Frankie. And this is my Igor Violet over here. The nuts and bolts of keeping everything together. And together we make the Mad Scientists. There we are.
There's a good one.
It's a pretty good one.
I'm out of here. See you, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, she's disappeared, but I can make noises without too much echo, because the two of us together have a lot of echo, and mainly because of my setup, because it's got the microphone and the speaker and practically on top of each other, so it's all my fault. But when we get up in the other room, I'm hoping to use a proper camera with hopefully speakers some distance away, which should make things better. But at the moment, this is the setup I've got. So, yes. The only other way to negate it is to wear headphones. And frankly, it makes my ears feel uncomfortable and it doesn't help my throat much. So let's go with this and see what happens. So today, I'm thinking of trying, I've got these lovely, lovely quill brushes here that I want to have another play with. I liked them last time. I haven't yet got the Winsor & Newton one. That's not coming until the 29th. So that's not here yet. So I don't know how good or bad any of these are compared to the Winsor & Newton. Winsor & Newton was mentioned as a very good, high quality brush maker. So there are others like, is it Ecola or something like that? Or I can't remember. But Da Vinci was another one that's top of the trees, as it were. And I think Princeton was one of the good ones mentioned. But if you look at this compared to this, so this is a similar sort of brush to this, but this one has no containing press marks, not like these do. These are bound with plastic and with these metal strands that really bite into the wood. They're so tight that it's to stop hairs coming out. This one doesn't even have those. It only has the ones to secure the ferrule to the wood. So this is Fumui, and I was not impressed with it because hairs were coming out all the time I was using it. So I'm put that to one side, and I'm just going to use these. But I saw Maremi Small Art doing a lovely set of flowers with different colours, and her method of doing it was quite fascinating. And she used either a flat or an angled flat like that. So I might try with this or with one of these and try with that. And if I could find a flat, I'd probably, oh, there we are. There's a flat. I'd probably try with the flat as well, just to see the difference. So we'll do a few flowers. So this is just done on, look at it all crumpled and horrible. It's just done on my jotter pad, which is terrible paper for painting. But I just wanted to see how you do it. And of course, that gave me a little tiny bit of experience. Not much. So what she does is, let's start with this Aquafine Dalaroni. That's supposed to be quite a good brush too. It's not been used yet. I've not tried it yet. So it's still in its solid form. You know, it's had gum arabic on it to keep it in a good condition, and then had one of those de-stings put on it to keep it safe while moving about, traveling or whatever, if somebody's going to post it or whatever, or in the shop. So in case it was in the shop. So I'm going to try this one. There we go. Now I've also got something else to try, and that is these Paul Rubens paints that my husband gave me for Christmas. Isn't that lovely? Lovely, lovely. He also gave me some absolutely gorgeous, soft as butter, like silk, these hake brushes. Oh, a set of 3, beautiful. Roland Langley.
Just drooling, Fran. I'm drooling. Oh, Ian is wonderful.
He is, isn't he? So I've got, and what she did, Maremi, was she went for different colours. Now she went for, let's try the emerald. That was one of the colours. Well, it was more a turquoise, so I really should have been using one of the others. But I'm trying out this set of paints, so it's just making a little pointed dot. Probably would have been better using a slightly smaller brush, but these are clever in that you can use the point like this without any problem, because it might be a big brush and it holds a lot of water and a lot of colour, but it does still go to a point. You must make sure that there's plenty of paint in these dots, because it's going to take a while to put all the dots on. So that one. And then a nice blue. What blue shall we use? What have I got here? I've got intense blue. Let's try intense blue. I've not had an intense blue before, so that would be nice to try. Just before we started this stream, words are hard, I did this set of swatches so I can see what they do. And isn't it nice how they sort of feather when you put water next to them? Isn't that amazing? Now, I didn't put water on the whole area. I just put water on this end, and I put paint with a little bit of water at this end and sort of made them meet. And oh, what a lovely, lovely thing. I know a lot of people moan about, serious artists moan about colours blending together like that. But I absolutely love it, because I'm getting more and more into the abstract, and I like that so much. That's what I want. Right, and so we'll go with another colour. Now, Maremi used a permanent rose, so I've got a permanent rose. So, or if she didn't use a permanent rose, it was something very similar to a permanent rose. It looked like it. So let's use this one. So I'm going to put one there and there, because I can. That's mixed a little bit. My mistake. Let's get some fresh. Try to keep the colour pure. This one still seems to be pulling out hairs, which is odd. I did not expect it to. Oh, that one's flooding in. I should have made a bigger pattern. I didn't think about that. I should have. I should have made these dots further apart. Much further apart. Oh, I missed a blue out there. Yeah, okay. Put another one there. Why not? And then I think I'm going to use a yellow. I will use Gamboge Hue. Now look at this. It looks like a brown, that one, but it's a lovely colour. A lovely yellow. Always did like Gamboge. I think it's mainly because I like the name. Yes. I'm a sucker for a really good name. Somebody names a paint Wanton Tremors or something like that, and I'm going to go, oh, must try that one. Yeah, I'm using a biggish blob here because I can. No, I'm not practiced at this. I really need to re-watch Maremi's demonstration of this technique, because it was just so good. Now, I've taken a lot of the water out of my brush, and I'm going to try it with this brush just to see what happens. Now, what she did was she got one corner and pulled it to the other corner and then just wiggled it outwards. But she did it in a much better way than me. Yes, well, let's try the other side. This one over here. That's slightly better, I think. Do another one. Shake off as much of the water as I can, I think. And then this one. For this one, to that one, to that one. And I really want to sort of encourage it to be wider at the top, like that. Now this one is more awkward because I'm doing it from the wrong angle. She just moved her paper around. It's obviously a better way to do it. I'm going to do it separately now and see if that makes a difference. Using the top like that and these to move up into it. Right, let's try that again. I'm liking that. That one turned out really well. This one's a little messy, but it's quite nice. Not sure about that one. I like that one with the yellow at the edge. I think it was just pure luck I got the yellow at the edge there. Okay. Let's try this one. Let's try this one with the yellow, spreading the yellow out a bit, rinsing my brush, spreading that one out a bit, letting it meld in.
Can I
And
interrupt here?
yeah,
Well, I'm looking at the video, and she used a brush like you're using, I guess, to put the dots down, but she's using a big, flat, square brush to spread them out. Bigger than
yeah.
that.
So I'd try this one first and try this, or even try that, if
That's
that's a better,
more like what she's using. Okay, carry
or
on.
that big flat brush. That's one
Yeah,
of the me ones though.
she
Well,
just,
we can try it. So I'm inclined to go over it a second time. You shouldn't. You should do it with just one stroke. I'm not doing that quite right. So I'll have to have another try with another lot. So let's put some more on another page. I've got one over here, or even down here I could do some more. Just a partial one. That's an idea. Let's do a partial one. Well, I want the intense blue again. I'll start with the intense blue, I think. I'm only putting 3 there. All right. I wonder what the different procedure is with Daler-Rowney and with Winsor and Newton, or these other ones that are so good. What is the difference? Is it the type of hair they're using that makes them not shed, or is it just these things that I suspect it being? I don't know. They don't look quite as tight as on the Artway. Now, that's the other one I've got, the Artway, and they look really, really tight. They look like a drum. They're so tight there. Let's have a go with one of those. I'll try with the smaller one, the very smaller one. Now, what other colour shall we put with it? Let's have the purple lake. Sorry, you can't see my purple lake. Here's my purple lake. Here is my purple lake. Here. I'm tapping a few times because I want to get as much on there as I can. Got another hair there. That's not from the brush, though. Probably from me. And I'm going to put one here. And one here. A little bit more water. One here. And one here. I can't remember what she did. I mean, I really must watch the video again. In fact, I might put one this side as well. And one there. Then I think cadmium red pale hue, because that's a right nice orangey colour. And I think I want something orangey up here. A little bit more water. And then I'm going to put a yellow on the edge again, as if it's fading the colour a little. So cad yellow hue this time, I think. Just to see what difference, if any, that makes. Bubbles in that one. bit more in that one. And now, quick before it all dries out, which it appears to be doing because I've taken so long, I'm going to go back to the purple and add a little bit more because it seems to be a little bit less there than I want. That's drying up that spot.
She uses a very wet brush, a lot of water
Yeah.
when she comes in to move it.
So we'll try. I think I'll try this one with the angle. I don't think she used the angle, but I'm going to try it. And I'm going to open the one with clean water. Now, that wasn't very good. I might add some more of that actually. Not impressed with that. So sort of went side and up, down. She's too clever, she is. Gosh, what a mess. That one's looking better now and it's drying than this one. I'm going to bring that in a little bit here to let it join up a bit. Now I want to try with turquoise again because I liked the turquoise, so I'm going to leave the Paul Rubens for a moment and get out the one with the turquoise in it. I think it's this Rosa Gallery one. Might not be. It is this Rosa Gallery one. It's this lovely turquoise here. So, and here we go. Turquoise. Now another way of doing it is to, like this, to create a puddle of the colour you want so that you can add more colour and more water to get it into a better ratio than you can by just dipping into the pan. So there we go. So I've got a bit more there. Trouble is I've now got to move this over here so I can get it paper. Now, four ruins over there. As Violet reminded me, you should keep your palette open until it's dried, because otherwise you can get mold growing on your paints and so forth. Not the best of ideas. Right. Nice bubble of paint and water. That's the thing about getting it from the palette like that. More water. I'm still going to do a sort of partial one. Add a bit more to that one. What else colours have we got in here? We've got Opera Rose and Magenta Rose. I think I'll try the Magenta Rose this time. And again, I'm going to put it in a palette, on the palette at the edge where you can't see it. I'm sorry about that, but it's the only one of the few clean ones I've got. See, difficult to show you, but it is there. Right, one at the side. There you go. Thank you. Collect a bit more. This is actually working quite nicely now. Not sure if that one will. So we've got turquoise and red. Well, pink. Why not go for some madder red? Add a bit more red to it. Got another one here that isn't used yet. I think I won't put a yellow this time. We'll see what happens with what we've got. But I will put some blue. So what we got? Cobalt blue. Let's try that one. Cobalt blue. Cobalt blue. Cobalt blue. And again. And one more. There we go. Good. Right. I haven't really got the angle quite right that Maremi was using. There's some particular angle she was using that was working really well. Well, that's still a roundy one. Could try with a... No, I don't think I will. That's too extreme, I think. I think I'll just stick with this one. Right. I think the trick is not to go in a second time, which I keep on doing.
And another trick is not to really mix the colors, which is why they weren't. She didn't layer them on top of each other. She put them next to each other, and she'd grab one and start pulling, and then go over and touch the other and pull it that way, so that they really didn't blend. They just sort of gradiated.
Yes, I can't seem to do that in a smooth way. So let's do this one. I think it's better keeping the colours together. She was obviously quite good at it by then because of putting the yellow on and it working really well. She must have practiced a fair bit. And I still think I should go and pull these in a bit.
And I'm looking, and I only see her so far using 2 colors at a time.
Really? Oh, I thought she was using more than that.
No, just 2 colors. That's why I said she hit one, and as she was dragging it up, she'd connect with the other and drag it to the side. And that's what gave it the gradient look.
Well, clever old girl. I'm going to do another one at the top here. And I'm still going to use the turquoise because I really like that one. think I'm going to use that Madder Red again, just to have another practice. Next, I'm using this same brush that I was pulling them out with, because I don't think it's making a huge difference using the other brush. And I reckon I could probably do just as well with the other brush, pulling them out and putting them on as well, because it's a question of how much it holds. But the flat brush, I don't know whether it's making much difference. Not with me, anyway. Might well have done with Marimi. She's clever. Picking up a bit more paint. Right, let's risk it. You know, risk it for a biscuit. Trying to make it a slightly bigger area, so I only have to touch it. Maybe this will work, maybe it won't. Okay. Let's try them on the other side. No, I went and touched it again. I'm always doing that. Mustn't do that. Trouble is, I'm not making a good form when I'm doing this. Yeah, nice bit of black. That's all what I had in mind at all. Try with the yellow first, then. It's a very wobbly flower petal. Let's rinse the brush and try to. And yeah, I'm not great at this. I am not great at this. I think she had her petals a lot closer together as well. You know, going all the way over there.
Well, it's simply not an easy technique to. It's too precise in my mind.
Well, she said it was easy, and it looked easy when she did it.
Oh, go
That's
watch.
what encourages us to have a go, isn't it? Sorry, what did you say?
The very first one you did is probably the best.
I'm quite liking the colours blending in this one.
Yeah, I like that one too.
But yes, I think you're right. That's probably the best. Now then, I think put this aside, because what she did next was that she created the rest of the flower with a pen. So I think that needs to rest. And what I'll probably do is give it a bit of shot of heating, just so that I can move it, because I want to put something else on here. So I don't want it to run away. Something to think about. All these were Rosa Gallery. These two on this side. This, I think I still used the Paul Rubens with that one. I think so. But that one was definitely Paul Rubens, wasn't it? And actually, that's turned out nicer. So I wonder if it's definitely me, but I wonder if the Paul Rubens helped a bit. Don't know. I'm going to keep my paints there, and I'm going to take these off and put some fresh paper down. Gonna try some more. Oh, look at that, it's flooded underneath. Try some more. What's the word I'm looking for? Experiments with other brushes. That's what I was going to say. So have you all had a lovely Christmas? I hope so. It's now Boxing Day here. I don't know whether you have Boxing Day in the USA, but we do here in the UK. So I'll put that one aside. That's pretty much dry. That one I'll put aside. It's not quite dry. There are some splodges here and there. We'll let that dry on its own. And we'll put some more paper down. Let's go to the horse. That's slightly more cotton, 50%. I want to use washi tape in the middle, but not the little gold one. I'm going to use, that one should be fine. So what I'm thinking is, when that's cut in half, it'll give me about the same amount each side. That's what I'm thinking. Because the little gold one, I was having to use 2 pieces, and that's silly when I've got a bigger bit. I'm not very accurate, I'm afraid. That's probably why I'm not very good at proportions either. Now then, saw something today about using the fan brushes, which I thought was rather clever. Now, I've got a very stiff one, but I can't find it, so I'm going to have to do without the very stiff one. And I don't think I've got anything close. No. But I would like to try this brush over here, simply because it's funny shape. That's a bit stiff. And we'll have one of these. An angled brush like I was using before, like that one, only not so big. Right, so we've got those. So let me put these away so they're not in the way. So I saw somebody using their fan brushes, and they were doing some really interesting stuff. So they started with black paper, well, dark grey paper, and black paint and white paint. Well, I've not got that here. I've got white paper. So I won't be doing it quite that way. So it won't turn out anything like as good as theirs, I expect. So, which one's black? Just want to know which one's black. I've got black grape. Okay, it doesn't really matter. I just want to try this particular method. Get that wet. Let's use some of that turquoise we've still got there. Never mind. I'll just start and see what happens. So, because of the type of brush it is, it's broken up a bit there. Let me get a bit more paint on it. That's broken it up a bit more. Good. So what she did was, she was doing these strokes. And grass was the idea with that. In order to get some different tones in, I've got to open a new thing of water because I want some cleaner water. So excuse me a moment. Pop that there. Because that was a bit blue. I think that's quite staining, that one. Gosh, it does. Oh, the smell of caramelized onions. It's quite staining, so my brush has got the blue color on it, but I've rinsed it in that clear water and it's not leaving any color in the water. I'm not seeing any go in there. So there we go. So a slightly darker color. Don't know if it's that much darker, but we'll have a go. Now, obviously, if you're doing real grass in a field, it's not going to be blue. Well, I suppose there's the Blue Hills of Kentucky or whatever. So it's not impossible. The thing about some of these paint pans is something this size makes it difficult to get into the paint pans. These pans, even the full size ones, what they call the half pans. Are these half pans or the little ones are half pans? Yeah. So, you know, I mean, you can sort of scrunch up the brush a bit to take up the color better. So let's try purple.
Purple.
Purple. Do a little bit of that. Of course, if you want highlights, the other thing to do is to get some lighter colors over the top. Now, when she was doing it, I don't know what she was using. She didn't actually say whether, I think it was watercolor, but I think it was out of a tube from the way it looked on the palette when she was starting up. So I don't know for sure. And another thing she did, this is quite fun. Let me have a go with paler blue. What's this one called? It's called cobalt blue. Loading it up with quite a bit of color. And she would do this. It's losing color. A bit more. And you can get some quite nice textures. Imagine that as a waterfall. Obviously, it wouldn't be across the whole of the painting, but it gives you an idea of the different textures just because we've got these featheriness here. Now, she was using a stiffer brush as well, and that was giving quite a different texture because it doesn't separate as much as this one. Well, let's try it with this one because I've got a feeling that this one will separate just as much as that one, but it's so full and fluffy. It's always worth an idea. That's a Dalarowny Aquarelle. So let's give that a test. It's not separated quite so much, but we'll see what happens. So let's try the grass one. We'll do it over this side. So let's try a little bit of yellow ochre, I think. I'll try the yellow ochre. That water has brought it together. Interesting. Yellow ochre. It's really difficult to get into the paint pans. It might be better with something like Kuretake size of paint pans. Something like that. See, I'm touching very lightly, so I'm getting this nice separation, even though it's not, you look, that's straight, but I'm still getting the separation of stroke, which is lovely. Let's have a look at the Kuretake.
Goes back to the other day when you were using your 3 little wispy brushes, and you kept saying you wished you had a much larger one like that.
Yeah, well, this is just the ordinary fan brush, but it separates out into a similar sort of shape to those wisps, which is probably why they're not quite so popular. as other brushes and more labeled as specialist brushes because people use these instead. So what do I want to put on there? I want to put a bit of a darker brown. That's a red, actually. I did not look at the palette to tell me what it was. It was maroon. So I just put maroon on. Actually, it turned out quite nice. So rinsey poo, that one. So if I put that one down now and get this smaller white one here and go into something like, get it wet first, into something like perhaps this, which is either rose beige. No, it's natural beige. I put my brush into this one, natural beige. So this is easier to pick up the paint from this palette. I still haven't ordered that new indigo. Right. And you don't have to just use the flat of the brush. Let's go for a nice bright yellow. And I'm just going to use the edge to soften the amount of colour there to make it a bit, blend in a bit better together. Now that's still quite damp from before, but it's not soaking wet because I haven't put water all over the paper. So it's working quite well. Yep. I saw a lady, did I tell you I saw a lady paint a horse with just one fan brush? And my goodness. Okay, so when she came to do the eyes, one eye wasn't working out quite well. I thought it looked great to me, but she wasn't happy with it. So she ended up using the point of the back of the brush for the other eye. Beautiful. She was so clever. And I'm going to use a little bit more of that maroon. Let me rinse that out. Wouldn't it be nice when I've got an actual table that I can use without doing this and got the camera up so I don't have to duck my head underneath so much. That would be nice. So a bit more maroon, just a little bit of maroon, just a little bit, so that I can just tease a little bit in here and there. See how that's gone to a lovely point now? So I've got a single stroke almost there. A bit more on this one. And I saw someone else using one of these brushes to put the tips of trees in, you know.
Interesting.
Sweeping motion.
Christmas trees.
Kind of. That's the idea anyway. But obviously better in a different colour, like perhaps a bit of this one. I think it's quite a distant one.
That's actually quite nice.
Not quite what I had intended, but see if I can play with it a bit more. Now this one's quite a wider one than that one. You can see the difference in the width of the brushes. Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
This one's wide. So Quite a funny sort of brush. And the other way of doing it, of course, is to do it this way.
Oh, sweet. Just like that. Just like that. That's perfect.
So you've got the branches going the other way. See? Sorry about that. I must have destroyed that. But of course, if you're doing it on black paper, it's more suited to Christmas sort of things because you can do snow and stuff by just putting a little shade of color here and there, like you want footprints. Look, a very light, tiny bit of blue, and not with these brushes. But I want to test this one out. I've never used this one. What's it called? I think it's called a goat's foot or a deer's foot. Deer's foot, I think it is. Deer's foot. Well, let's have a go with a deer's foot and see what a deer's foot can do. It's quite stiffish, so it's giving me quite a lot of textural effect there. And if you use it sideways, you can get a different kind of texture. But it's quite stiff, this one. It's nothing like as soft as any of these brushes. I must try and clean those up a bit. Blue. So I'm poking into the black here. Is it the black? It's the something black. Black grape, that was it. So you can hear how much more scratchy this brush is. What's it by? Royal. I don't know Royal who. Made in China. 3/8 of an inch is the size. Soft grip, that might be the name. Soft grip or Royal. But yeah, interesting. And if you've got a slightly drier paint, like I had there, you get a softer, more textured look. But here, as it's running out, you can see it getting a bit more textured.
Well, when you get your hand out of the way, we can see. There we go.
Sorry.
It's way up there. I can barely see it.
When there's no less stuff on it, less paint, it gets more textured and it's more interesting. You can imagine that being sort of the rocks going up side of a mountain or in the water even. If you put over it some of this, for instance, and then put this over the top, that's what it would hopefully look like. And there was something else she did. Oh, yes, something else she did. Now, the trouble is, the something else she did worked a whole lot better with a really stiff brush. And I don't have a stiff fan brush. And she demonstrated that it wasn't quite as good with a soft brush. So what am I going to do about that? What else can I use that might give me something similar? It's half the action of the hand and half the shape of the brush, or perhaps 25% shape of the brush and 75% the artist. I'm sure it's at least 75% for an artist. All those are going to have a proper wash. What could I use? I could try using this. This is very soft. This is less soft. Maybe I'll use that one. Yes, I'll try this one. Might need a fair bit, so I'll keep on the Kiyotaki because I've got more room to get my brush in. And I might have to have another piece of paper. I think that's fairly dry. That's sort of, yeah, they're all more or less dry. That one's less dry. Let's try that and move on to another piece of paper. That came out nicely. It just shows you, oh, yeah, it just shows you that if you forget and try to pull the tape off, you get this happening. Tearing and, yeah. But if you remember, it comes off without doing that. The only trouble is brain fog. Lack of memory. Old age, whatever you want to call it. So, that one, quite some nice tests to remember. Another sheet.
I tried. See what I did?
Huh? Oh, you did it a whole lot better than me. Wow. Wonderful. Look, folks, look what you can do if you've got talent.
Talent off camera.
Yeah, well, it's more relaxing, isn't it? You're not under pressure. Under pressure. The moss. Let's have a go with the moss. I don't know that it's going to work with that one, so let's look and see if I've got any other brushes I might try it with. I have got that one. What about that one? That one might work a bit better. Well, we'll try them out and see, because I haven't got a stiff fan brush, or at least not here. I haven't. I've got a feeling that I've got a roll of paintbrushes from my oils days, which may well have a fan brush in them as if it came as a set. I'm not sure. It's a long time since I did any oils. A very long time. Probably forgotten how they work now. Mix them with what, hey? Right. Let's put some green in here. You'll see why in a minute. Let's try that. Now, trying to imitate what a fan brush does. It's not terribly successful. Right, rinse that. Some nice clean water too. And now let's go for a darker green. It doesn't really matter what greens these are called. The first one was a lime, I think. Lime green, yes. And the next one is hooker's green. But, you know, deepish green, that'll do. Nothing like as successful. So let's abandon that brush for now. Give it a nice clean. And try something a bit thinner. I think that's what I want, something a bit thinner. Well, let's try with one of these fan brushes. Let's try with this one, just to see. I mean, it's not going to be great, but we'll see. So we'll start with the dark one this time. Can't remember which way around she did it, but probably light first. So let's do this one. take that off the page. Right. Let's try with the lime again. Now, I do remember that on one of these tests she did, she loaded her brush with paint on only one side. I can't remember which one it was. So I'm sorry about that. So let me grab this and let's have a bit of what is that one? That one is Indian red. That is Indian red. That's a nice sort of warm brown. Well, I think I want to dry this now before I do any more on this same one. So that's what I'm going to do. Put that out of the way so I can get the heat gun to it. Here we go, heat gun. A while for me, seconds for you. Okay? Good, good, good. Here we go. Now, I want one of those brushes, I think. And I want a really pale blue. So let's get some of that cobalt. Put it in there. Let me move those out of the way a bit. Oops. So I can get this a bit closer to you. Right, I'm just putting some, I still can't see, sorry. Still just putting some blue in here with some water. That's a blue water, so it doesn't matter so much that it's not very clean. More water. More water. Right, so I should have a small amount of pigment there, but a fair bit of water. So pick up some more of that blue. There we go. Now I want to go back. What was I using before? I used the big one, didn't I? The big fan. That was what I used. Yes. Okay, so I want to go back to the green. And I want to use the lime again. Oh, and I want to dry that first. Silly me. I must dry it first. Yes, because I don't want it to mix so much with the blue. Right? Right. There we are. That's better. And now this has taken so little time. I've still got this here. And again, dry that because I want to get some of the darker colour on top. Now I'm trying to learn a different method of using watercolours than I've ever used before. I used to do little delicate flowers with a little pointy brush. So this is quite a different technique for me. And also it's a long time since I use watercolour, so I've forgotten what they do. And I'm not great at remembering things, as you know. Now, I want a darker green, so we will go back into this nice one we used before, which I believe was the hookers, wasn't it? And I've not put much water on this brush now. I'm trying to get as thicker paint as I can, because I think that's going to give me a bit better look. Still haven't got quite as thick as I would like. And I'm going to go over this again as well. Trying to let as little of the brush touch the paper as I can, because I want the texture, the shapes of the tips of the brush to show through more than just a line of paint as we had to begin with. May as well go over all of it, no point not. Bit more paint, and I'm not putting any more water on. I'm just paint. That's giving me a drier brush effect. That's much better. Yes, so the drier the brush, the more texture you can get. And I think possibly the best thing to do now, having rinsed that, and I want to put some more of the light colour on, A, dry this, and B, try and dry this a bit as well. Well, that's fairly easy to dry that, isn't it? Dry. Certainly drier than it was. And it's quite a thick brush, this. It's really rather nicely thick. Aquafine. Yes, I'm liking this brush. It's nice. I like that one. I would like one of the stiff ones as well, so I shall have to look and see if I've got one, and if not, I'll probably have to go down to Hobbycraft and get one. They've got some down there anyway. So dry this first and then off we go. Lime. The lime still has some damp to it, so I don't need to damp the brush anything like as much as I just did. So I want to put some more here and a bit more here. Break up the solidness of the colours. Add a bit more, still without water. Try to remember not to put the water on when you're doing this kind of dry brush technique. I mean, you do have to put a little bit on just to activate the paint, but not as much as I put on. So that's fairly dry. I'm going to rinse this. I'm going to dry it with this, and then I'm going to dip it in that darker green paint and see if there's any ability to pick any up without getting too much. Let's see what that does, because I want to put a bit more over here. Now, I haven't said yet what she was doing, because I haven't managed to reproduce it very well yet. But she was doing moss, and I tell you, with the stiffer brush, she was getting a lovely effect with the stiffer brush. But I think you can get it if you allow the paint to be as dry as you can manage, because I'm certainly getting a good effect here with this dry brush. I really am liking that. It seems to go on better when you've got a background colour down, and then you can go over it. So I think perhaps putting a background colour of the lighter green down first and then going over it with the darker green is the best way. I'm getting the best effect that way. What's very difficult is to get the right amount of dampness in here. You can see that I'm practically shoving my brush in there to pick up colour. And it shows up well over this light colour here. This is not so good, but this is working well. This is what I would like all over. So if you've got it too dark, the simple solution is I would like to rinse this out. Now that you're using very dry brush techniques, you don't really need to keep on drying it in between unless you want to. Because if you think it's going to pick up the dark colour, which it might if there's a lot on there, then yes, dry the brush. I mean, dry the painting, not the brush. I've dried the brush. Let's see if this helps. Whoops. On here. It is. That is better. So if this is moss, then that's a rock. Well, supposed to be. I think that's not so bad. It's certainly got more of the texture of moss there than anywhere else has got. So that's on already dried paint, quite a good colour because you want a background colour on it. So re-wet this brush and increase the amount of paint so we don't have any white showing. Dampen it a bit more because you can reactivate watercolour like that. Go back over this piece to blend it in a bit better. Yes, I don't think the white background helps it any. Pale green is a better background for it. There we go. That's meant to be a river, by the way, that blue streak. You know.
I wasn't sure. River or sidewalk? I wasn't sure.
Well, if it was sidewalk, you'd probably have to be a bit grayer. But you don't normally get moss close to a sidewalk. Well, not that I know of. You might do, but yeah, I think river is better. But anyway, there we go. So I want to dry this brush again. Dry this background a bit more because it's now become a background because I decided. It's a good thing you can do layers, isn't it? Here we go. Now this one needs some more light, but I need a tiniest bit of water in there. And I think the best thing to do with that is, just let me grab it, to use a notepad or something and try it out on it. I think that's going to be okay. I think that dark green is a little severe, so I'm going over it with the lighter green. That lime green is going to get used up a lot. I can see that. Just stabbing my brush in, not trying to just use the tips of the bristles, hairs, whatever you want to call them. In this case, it's more hairs than bristles, but it would be bristles if you were using one of those stiffer ones, because I believe they're bristle brushes, the stiffer ones. A bit more green. Right. Seems to work best with a lot of layers, because by the time you get to the last layer, you're getting closer to what you want. Or I am in this case. If you're better at it than me, you may be able to get there a lot sooner. And if you're better at it than me, you probably know all about this anyway. I mean, I'm just testing and playing with new colours and new paints and so forth. I think that's good enough. It's not really mossy, but it does give that sort of impression. Let's pretend we're being impressionist.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
We're impressionists. Now I got some decent detail brushes. Really decent detail brushes. Let's try that one. That one. Where's my colour chart for this one? Rosa Gallery, please. Where are you? Sorry. Oh dear. Now I think let's start with the burnt. No, with the umber, which is probably burnt anyway. Umber. Just want to get rid of some of the that green, just to blend it in a bit, you know. And then you remember the bit we were doing before on the other page. What did I do on the other page? With the grasses. Well, this is a good opportunity to add some of those. Whether it's going to work or not, I don't know. Let's go for yellow ochre. But I should be using a different brush, shouldn't I? No, why didn't you remind me? That one's a thinner one. Let's try that. The thing is, it's in the distance, so it doesn't want to be quite so big. So I might have been better with a single. Shows up better against the blue. And a little bit of this green, which I think was emerald, wasn't it? Yes, emerald. No, it's not emerald. Bright green. It's bright green. Beg your pardon. It's bright green. Right, so let's try a little bit of that. Plus, I want to dry that now. I don't want that to mix. So I'll need to dry that. Just rinse it in there a bit. That's a bit better. What yellow shall I use? I think the Cad Yellow Deep would be best. Let's try that one. I don't want too many of these in this colour. Just a few. Just to lighten up the green a little bit, give it a bit of contrast. I'm thinking of Norfolk Broads here, but of course there wasn't moss in the Norfolk Broads. Well, there might have been somewhere, but not the bit we were on. It was just wet grass and stuff. So there you go. I mean, this is the kind of thing you could spend the next hour or two on, and you can put a lake in here, and there you go. Might be a way of, you never know whether it might not look a bit like it's some light on the water. Maybe not. Now, I'm not really very happy with that, but I'm just playing, so it doesn't really matter. Just want to get rid of some of that whiteness, which I really don't like so much. I mean, whiteness, when you've deliberately put it there or left it there, when you've done it with a brush like this that can skid over the surface and leave marks behind, you know, white marks behind, or one where you've gone over it with masking fluid and deliberately put in some white lines that you want to keep. That's one thing, but yeah. Well, this is only just playing, you see, so we just muddle along as we like. I think that's about as much as I want to do, actually. I think that's well enough. I mean, it's just experiments. It's nothing huge or anything. Let's have a look at the flower paintings and the old piece, the previous piece, that one. I liked this bit best, I think. And I really was happy with this deer's foot. That was really interesting to see that. And I liked the waterfall look. The trees turned out better than I expected, but definitely I like this grass the best. It's a choice of colours as well as the sweeping movement. And then there's these. That was the first one. And then there was that one. So these would need more work. For instance, it says you're looking for a pen and not finding one. What's that? That's an 0.4. That'll do. See, you could put in the center of a flower, supposing it to have lots of stamens. Going like this. And you would make it scarcer as you got to the center. And emphasize it at the edges because that's where the shadow would be. This edge anyway, if you're thinking that the sunlight's coming in this way. So definitely emphasize that a bit. And then go over it again. I'm inclined to drag my hand with the pen in it. But if you can keep it spotting like this, it's going to give you a better effect. So better to resign yourself to some hours of doing this, and then you can gaily go over it and see how it's coming and take another look. And want a bit more there, want a lot more there, you know, and that gives you a sort of effect. And then you can always put some pieces wandering off. If you wish. You don't have to. Yes. There we are. Just a thought. So there we are. We have improved upon the initial one at least on the notepad paper, which was rubbish. So we've improved on that. So I'm quite happy with that. First one did turn out really good, but I'm happy with the colours on this one. That worked a lot better without the yellow. For some reason, the yellow didn't seem to like the others, but this one, the Paul Rubens one, that did mix quite well. I must have another go with Paul Rubens and see if it's me or the paints. It's more likely to be me than anything else. But there you go. We've got a little stream. I'm quite happy with the way that bit worked there. And I managed to sort of correct what wasn't going quite well. But then if I'd done it the right way in the first place, put a wash of green on, dried it, and then gone over it with this, it would have been much quicker and probably a lot better. But here we are. Well, I mean, we're just testing these things. So, ho hum. There we go. That is us for today. And are you going to come back and say hello and show us what you've done? Which I think was, oh my goodness. Oh, that's wonderful. I tell you what, do you want to take over the stream? Because you could easily. It's wonderful.
Here's the thing. This is on an iPad in Procreate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm holding the pencil as I would a paintbrush.
Yeah.
So I'm learning to paint without wasting paint. So then I can turn around and paint the way I want.
Oh, wonderful. I like those. Aren't they cheerful?
Those were done with a straw. I mean, I painted and blew through a straw.
Blobs with eyes. Blobs with eyes. Lovely. Little furry blobs.
But this is done to, like I said, I'm holding the pen as I would a paintbrush, whatever I'm doing. And I think it's really helping my hand to, what is the word? Memory?
Yes, muscle memory.
Yeah. And I'm not wasting paint and water to do it. So hopefully I can do enough of these and then transfer it over to actual watercolor and paper.
Yeah.
So let me show you one more.
Oh, isn't that sweet? That could go on a Christmas card, easy as anything.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
But we do
quite marvelous. Yeah.
And then we come back to that. Yep, I really like that.
I do. I think it's wonderful. Okay. Just needs a little bit of shadow near the base of the tree to show that it's not floating. And those slender branches are wonderful.
A little bit of shadow. Little bit of shadow. Let's see. What did you say? Don't go away.
I'm not going. I'm not going nowhere.
Let's get that shadow in there. What do you think? Probably too dark.
Well, I was thinking it was a bit wide rather than dark. The darkness was all right, but it was a bit wide, especially the one at the back. That's better. Yes, it might need to be a bit darker near the base even. But that's lovely, lovely. No, it's a lovely impression. The further back I look at it, the better it looks. Yes. Don't go too mad with it. It's great. It needs to blend into the next bit. Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's where there's a little, whoops, I'm sorry. That's where there's a little trick where we use a Gaussian blur.
Yes, that would do it.
Let's see if I can do it. Oh, let's see. Too much. Too much. Yeah,
Can you not use Gaussian blur with a brush,
no,
like a smudge brush or something?
no,
Oh, pity.
no. On here it has there's an action to do it. So that's a
That's
good idea.
Procreate. I'm thinking of what you could do in Photoshop. So sorry.
That's a good idea though, because yeah, I haven't used it in there either. I never thought about it being a using it. Now this background, this whole background, I've used the Gaussian blur
Yeah.
too, because it's two
See?
different layers. You can't see it, but there's two different layers.
Uh-huh. Yes.
So then there's the first, no, yeah, there's the first layer, and I looked at it and went, well, you can't have dead trees with green grass. It
Yeah.
didn't make sense. So then I added a
Uh-huh.
second layer,
Uh-huh.
and then I looked at it and went, it's still too light. Let's put them together. And then I felt happy with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Very clever. I've never tried Procreate. I don't even know what it is really, apart from what I've
It's
seen you do.
well, it's like Photoshop, but it's only for the iPad.
Aha. Right. Uh-huh. Okay.
For
Right. Well, shall we say bye-bye now then?
yes,
And
we
end the
should.
stream?
Yes, we should.